and I ended up getting gastro so badly that I ended up hallucinating.
Oh,
But there was a lot of work to make sure that you got to have that like woohoo at the end.
that's where babies are born.
Mhm.
Reality TV is fake and it is trash. Discuss.
Oh,
Hi, it's curtains up. Welcome to the circus. The glitz, the glam. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't miss it. Hello, friends. Welcome to the biggest little show. 30 seconds till curtain, Miss Pigger. I'm Yana Groves, and it's my pleasure to enthrall you with the tales from the heady world of entertainment. The industry bosses, the ballers, the brawlers. I'll be nattering to the fire breathers and lion tamers and the ringmasters of this wild industry. Today, my esteemed guest is Megan Stuart-Adams. She's the superfood, the rocket fuel of TV publicity. She's an unstoppable force behind some of the world's most successful franchises. She's grown and steered the global hits like The Bachelor and Bachelorette, Australia, The Block and MasterChef in New Zealand. Megan has spearheaded media comms for some of the industry's most revered shows, managing TV talent, putting out fires, and polishing our most beloved characters until they shine like the top of the Chrysler Building. Megan, thanks so much for joining us.
wow, hello. Gosh, what an intro. Hopefully I live up to that. Sounds fabulous.
Yeah, well, you are fabulous. You do amazing things.
Thank you.
And, look, one of the reasons I really wanted you to join us for the biggest little show is that you have the sort of secrets as to how we get that all that content we make and present it to the world shiny and tip top. How do you do it?
Look, I mean, it's exciting. It's crazy. It's all hours. It's having lots of fingers in different pies. It's putting out a lot of fires. It's being very confidential and seeming very calm when probably at the back of things everyone's going, "Oh my God." But it's good. It's good to be connected. Yeah, it's wild.
I think what I'd like to unpack as well, because I don't think many people know what you do in publicity and communications. What does that entail?
Where to start? I mean, from pre-production of a show, it starts with talking to the talent once they've been decided. It's looking into kind of the deepest, darkest secrets that they have, talking to them about what they hope will never be revealed, what they know might be revealed, and working out a way for them to feel confident in dealing with that information if it was to come out, for them to feel absolutely supported before they go on air, and also for them to have a really good understanding. And I guess it's more like reinforcing what the producing team and the casting team tell them about what it actually looks like to go on a TV show. Because I think people have this weird and wonderful idea, but it's not necessarily exactly what it is once they're on it. Then once they're on the show and the show's underway in production, it's getting all the assets, the photography, writing copy, all the bios, all the assets that we end up providing to either the network or directly to media so that they know all the ins and outs and get excited about the show. So that's liaising with the network and getting those assets. And then once they're out of the show, it's managing their expectations before an episode goes to air. It's briefing them before they head into media so they feel comfortable, having the knowledge of what media are going to ask them so that, these people have never been in that side of things before for reality participants. So it's making sure that they have a really good understanding of the kind of questions they might get asked, so they feel nice and prepared, because if they're prepared, then they feel they can be themselves and they've got confidence. Then once they've been on the show,
But wait.
it's managing their expectations of how it went, because some people do go on there to be famous and not everyone becomes famous from it. And so,
Right.
it's dealing with that. It's dealing with them knowing how to work around, especially social media and their contracts. So basically, I would normally deal with them from when they get cast till when their contract ends.
This is such a timely and topical point you make, because I think there's a feeling that this genre, unscripted, I like to call it, reality, the term reality seems to be very um, polarizing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like to use that term. I like to say unscripted.
Correct.
And I think in this genre there are so many people who assume that it doesn't take care of its participants, that it doesn't follow through and make sure that their best interests are taken care of. Would you say that that
Com-
not the case?
Completely untrue. Completely untrue. I mean, right from the very beginning, we have them talking to a psychologist to talk through things that they might be concerned about. The psychologist looks in and vets them to make sure that they are able to, with whatever history they have, that they are capable or feel supported enough in whatever they are bringing with them into the show, that they feel ready. That support is with them the whole time. In my time in reality television or unscripted television, things have changed, and the world is more aware of mental health and the support that's required around those things. So we have people there looking after them the whole way. Initially, we didn't necessarily, we had the psychologist, but we
Yes.
didn't have the other people, and so that did fall on the publicist a lot of the time, and it fell on me definitely. So I would be with talent talking to them for hours at all times of the evening.
It's late nights, it's weekends. If you're at a family wedding, if you're on the toilet, you take those calls, and I have seen you take those calls.
Yeah.
And calm. You handle it so beautifully, calmly, measure in a measured way, and you've never once said, "I don't have time to talk to you," or I don't need this. I'm busy.
Well, you can't. Yeah, I mean, you can't, can you? You can't, because they need you, and in that moment, it's the most important thing to that person, and it's making them realize that you're there for them, and we have protocols in place and we have people in place, but it's also talking to them about the situation, so that they do feel supported and they have the tools that they require to actually work through or deal with whatever's happening.
Yeah.
But
So they're never alone. That's
No.
the thing. Contributors, contestants. I think what we're very good at in this world is creating smoke and mirrors. That's the whole point. We are creating entertainment. We are creating something of interest, something that enthralls you, tantalizes you. So, of course, it does require a lot of work in the back end.
a lot.
And this is why, talk about why we're sitting in this incredible space.
It is amazing.
It's
Amazing.
America's. And what we're creating is something for the viewer to enjoy, and to take some, or to be inspired by, or to be touched by. And it requires a lot of work behind the curtain.
A lot. And the thing is, I mean, if you're an avid reality TV watcher, and you like reading all the kind of websites that decide to either trivialize or exaggerate things, or, sometimes we have talent who decide to do that on their own. They
I
easily say, oh, like,
Yeah.
we're not supported, which is so frustrating, because often those are the ones that I've probably been on the phone to for hours on end at the back end. The wellness advisor's been chatting to them. The psychologist has been chatting to them. Their network publicists have been chatting to them. So there's absolutely no way, or their producers, there's no way they're not supported, and that can be incredibly frustrating, and it gives the wrong idea that they're not supported. Do we sometimes tell them hard truths that they don't want to hear? Absolutely. And so does that mean that sometimes they decide to say they're not supported? Yes.
Sure.
But no, absolutely. There's so much going on in the background. And, with my roles, I've never ever been able to talk about that, because it's confidential and it's no one else's business. And it's really important that they know that they've got that confidential space. So we don't talk about it, but it's a lot of hours and there's a lot of support.
And a lot of support. I think what's really interesting about all those crazy hours is that after 13 years shining in this fabulous industry and in your specialty, You're a mum.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes.
How does that feel coming from somebody who is pretty much on call 24/7 to now being on call 24/7?
Yeah, I mean, look, I used to say it in the nicest way that the talent were my children. So, I was there for them any hour of the day if they needed anything. I was there to support them, guide them, nurture them. And I think I said on my last day before I went on maternity leave, I'm just switching it to one child who will also need to be nurtured and, given the opportunity to grow and excel in her own way. And I mean, it's nice to not have those calls, but just because I don't have the time for it now because my vision has shifted, focus has shifted to this little person,
as it should.
But swapped one for the other.
I think it's fantastic, and I think a lot of people, I don't know, historically, especially in my years of growing in this industry, it was always a question: can you balance family and this career in entertainment? I think it's the same for radio and it's the same for music. I think it's the same for theatre. The question is, can you do both? Can you do both?
I think you
Can
can.
you do it all?
I mean, I think you can. In saying that, I've chosen to take a little step back because my job was so heavily involved, long hours, and also a lot of travel, a lot of being away from home. It's television, so we can talk about seasons, and it's not my season to be doing that.
Yes.
So for now, I'm more happy to take a bit more of a back seat, definitely open to opportunities, but for it to be in more family orientated hours, which I think can be done. But it doesn't, I couldn't continue the exact role I was doing. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Does that mean I won't go back or do something similar at a later date? Absolutely. That could be on the cards, but for now the season is that step back, nurturing my child and having a work-life balance that works to a family, to a young family,
which is fantastic because and I think, look, as much as we moan and groan and a little bit suffering from PTSD from COVID, what is fantastic is that now we are able to create hybrid working environments. Sometimes working from home, sometimes going into the office, and we are people creatures. We wouldn't be in this industry if we weren't. We're people creatures, so we miss that sort of sense of camaraderie,
family, little TV family.
It's the TV family, and that's also what I liken it to. When you're running away with the circus, of course. By the way, I'll explain this metaphor shortly. When you're running away, you're going to be with a new family, a different kind of family. And so I like that hybrid, and I love that you're able to nurture your own. That's everything. Because I've seen so many mums come through the industry and feel like they haven't spent enough time with their kids.
Definitely. I mean, the TV family is a selfish family. They love having you all to themselves, and so it does take a lot of time. And everyone has different circumstances and different ways that they can manage that or make that work, and some people can't make it work. Like I say, for now, I'm just changing my focus for a season.
I love that. It sounds really romantic. Oh, first season, and it's a spring season. That's where babies are born. So I'm a firm believer in leaning into the things that juice you to grow a fulfilling career. Do you agree that if you're in flow, you can have an incredible work life? Because it certainly worked for me.
Definitely. I mean, television is exciting and full on and busy and on the go, but also it is very fulfilling. It's a lot of fun. I mean, in my role, being able to see talent go from one end of like being completely naive, having no idea what to experience, all the way through the growth that they have in such a short period of time, that is fulfilling to me.
Yes.
And I used to say it, like, we do a briefing with them all before they go into the mansion or go into whatever set they're going into. And the one thing that I always say to them is like, in this very short period of time, you're going to learn more about yourself than you ever would expect, because you learn how you deal in crisis situations. You learn how you deal when you're completely out of your comfort zone. You know, you don't have your normal support, friends, family around you, or contact with them sometimes. And so you actually learn a lot about yourself. And I mean, you have people also who go in there with a perception of themselves that isn't necessarily true. It's a little bit what, and then they see themselves on TV and they often blame the editing. And really, it's just like, whoa, you've just been held this huge mirror up to you, and you don't really like it. And so, like, that in itself is an opportunity to grow.
Oh my goodness, we've seen so many situations where we see this, where people, and I think it's the same. There's like talk about holding a mirror up. I think production is also going through its learning experience and growth experience. Like, I feel like I'm probably not a different person, but I know that I've grown from the beginning of a production to the end. I might be limping slightly. The shakes a little bit. But I know that I've come away having learnt so much, having experienced so much. We travel a lot. We travel. I mean, we've been lucky to work on shows that took us all over the world. We worked on Bachelor in Paradise in Fiji. That was fun.
That was great. I mean, look,
Let's talk about that. Some of those fun moments.
I mean, some Fiji, I think I have a little bit of PTSD for, only because I mean, what a great experience to have a whole month, and where you're right in there, and
In the
same
heart
thing,
of it.
long hours, and being a one man band in the publicity side of things, you know, that it's long hours because you don't have anyone to sub in for you, whereas like some of the other departments they do. But what an experience. One thing it does do, though, is it brings everybody together, because I think nearly every season, the crew at least would get gastro. And doing that, and we would still work, and we would turn up, and it meant that we had standing only meetings, and it meant that if someone had to leave at any point in time,
tropical heat,
you just didn't say anything, and you knew they would return, maybe not looking so sweaty and green and looking a little fresher for a moment. But you know, that really brings people together.
It certainly does. And yes, I think I was there for one of those seasons where, yes, people would just disappear for a few minutes, maybe a bit longer.
Yeah.
But the show must go on. And I think there's that mentality within our industry that, sure, people get sick, and sure, people need to go home for reasons and whatever. But there is a show must go on mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I worked on a MasterChef where we did the most amazing food tour to Italy.
Nice.
We had Massimo Bottura. We had, oh my God, Carluccio. It was for me, it's like a magical sort of nostalgic memory. But we also got gastro. There was a superbug, which was fun. And that was the first time any production had to stop down. Any production I've worked on, because they don't do that lightly. These are huge budgets. You can't.
Yeah, no, I think my stomach has a lot of like healing to do after many of those. I think actually one of the seasons was Maddie J's season of The Bachelor. That was filmed in Thailand, I'm pretty sure. And I ended up getting gastro so badly that I ended up hallucinating.
Oh, I shouldn't laugh.
I actually hallucinated. I had a dream, but that was so real that all the paparazzi, because we were dealing with a lot of paps, and that's something that I've always had to deal with when we're away in different places, and that is a lot. The sneaky things that they do. And I had this dream that they were all outside my room gathering, and I was trying to like count how many and identify who they were so I could let everyone know. And then I went down to a meeting, which I said I shouldn't go to, but they're like, we really need you to be in this meeting. So I came out of my sick bed, went down to this meeting, and I was like, oh my God. So I had this huge situation, and they were like, what are you talking about? And yeah, I totally hallucinated through having food poisoning.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun.
I wasn't expecting this conversation to go down the toilet.
Enough of that. Enough of that.
Enough of that poo-poo and wee-wee conversation. I'm going to put something to you. Reality TV is fake and it is trash. Discuss.
Oh. This is something that I can at times find quite frustrating. I think you said, it's unscripted, and I think that's a really good way of describing, because I think people think reality TV is very scripted, that we tell them exactly what to say. And you've got the likes of a show called Unreal, which kind of emulates satirically what the Bachelor franchise is, and some people have said, oh, it's exactly like that, when it absolutely isn't. So I've always found that a little frustrating. The parts people probably think are fake or not real are the fact that we have whole teams that are filming different elements of the show, and sometimes there's a group of girls chatting, or maybe they're not chatting. A group of girls are sitting there and they're saying absolutely nothing. Now imagine that as the viewer, watching a whole lot of people just sitting there saying nothing. Boring, like absolute crickets, like what is it, dust bunnies would just be like rolling through.
Yeah.
So producers do say things like, hey, last night this happened, tell me about it, or what did you think about the situation that happened with Bloody and blah blah. And so that could look set up, and they've forced us to talk about something, but it's like you have to talk about things. At the end of the day, it's a television show, so that kind of stuff could look a little fake or set up, but really we're still asking for your opinion. We still want to know what you're thinking, what your thought track is about that situation, so that it all makes sense as part of the show.
Oh, totally. To add to that, I think when people ask me these things, or when people say these things as fact, sorry, but I'm a cheerleader for this genre. This is my career. It's what I do. It's what I teach. It's my happy place. What I would say is, we shoot so much content. It's hours and hours and hours of footage. Some of it never makes it to air. So there has to be an edit process, of course. And I find it really interesting because I teach a part of a degree course, a creative industries course, in exactly this space. And I love it when the students come to me and they say, oh, I'm not going to like this class. I don't think this is for me. I don't like reality TV. It's trash. It's fake. And then I explain the many, 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 many genres and flavors and different styles of this unscripted space. And very quickly, you realize there's something for everybody. So you might be angry or upset about a certain style of show that doesn't suit you, perhaps. Maybe it's a bubblegum flavored kind of show. Maybe you're someone that prefers to watch Old People's Home for 4-year-olds, or Blown Away about glass blowing. It's a glass blowing competition. There's something for everybody. So I think, I don't know why, but I've become really passionate about correcting people.
Well, also, if it's
to what this genre is,
not everything's for you. You might not be the target. Like I would be out and about and people say, what do you do? And if I mention The Bachelor, varying degrees of interest, and some people are like, oh my God, I hate that show. I'm like, cool, you're probably not the target demographic.
Yes.
Like it probably actually
you
isn't
don't have
made
to watch it.
Or they would say, oh, I hate that show, but I can't believe what happened to blah, blah. I'm like, well, that was episode 3, which was 3 weeks ago, and you've actually seen it, and you know that this happens and this happens. Like people sometimes, I think, are unashamedly like want to bash it, but actually are fans.
Absolutely, 100%. I challenge you, if you haven't watched one of those shows you hate, to watch it. Watch it. A very, very, very fabulous executive producer who I've worked with for many years says, watch, watch, watch. View the stuff. Watch the things, all of the things, especially if it's something you don't like or you think you don't like, because you learn from it. And really, what we're talking about here is the craft of creating this stuff, which is incredibly successful. We're storytellers.
The other thing I would add about this fake thing is TV can be a little. You go on the show and you're someone with a huge personality, and you've got your fun side and you've got your serious side and you've got all the different elements that create your personality. Like you said, there's a lot of hours filmed, but only an hour of a show that, it takes, say, 3 days to film. You got to squish a whole lot of just the interesting bits in there, but it might not show your whole personality, because maybe the most interesting thing you said was the funny thing, or the most interesting thing you said was the serious thing. And that kind of ends up dictating a little bit what elements of your personality people see. And so I think it's important for people to remember that when you see someone and you decide to judge them, oh, they're the villain, or they're the class clown, you've got to remember they're a whole person. And as part of that, you're only seeing one element of their personality. And I think talent can get frustrated with that. I'm so much more than what you're seeing on the screen. Absolutely. But for the sake of the television show and for the content that you provided on that day, that's what's getting shown.
You're so right. You've hit the nail on the head. Now I'm going to throw something at you. Help me out here. So you might have noticed I've dropped in, the circus analogy. Look where we are. We're sitting in Sydney's Spiegel tent, the magnificent Spiegel tent in the entertainment quarter. And
very fitting.
Isn't it the best?
Very
fitting. I love this space. It has this sort of exquisite romanticism about it. They put on fantastic sort of burlesque, cabaret, comedy, kid shows. And so we're lucky enough to be here. Now, why are we here? Let me tell you. So I've recently co-authored a book called Wow, Women of Wisdom. Queen Bees is the book.
Read it. Amazing.
Did you?
Sure did.
Okay.
You did great. You were great.
Yeah, thank you. It's my first time as an author, so it's bloody nerve-wracking. But thank you. The chapter, as you know, is called How to Run Away with the Circus. And the analogy, as I was explaining earlier, is I feel when I was a child, I had these fantasies of what it would be like to run away with a circus. And that's what you did in the old days. You'd run away with a circus and you'd be surrounded by circus animals, and you would be, meeting the juggler, and you'd be walking the tightrope and all those things. It was a wild, crazy space. It was fantastically invigorating, but also horribly dangerous. And so I went, oh, hold on a minute. That reminds me of the TV industry and entertainment in general, and anyone who does any kind of on the edge, adrenaline pumping job. So my question to you is, sorry, it was a long way round.
we got there. What is it? What is it?
What would you tell people to pack if they were about to run away with the circus? 3 things.
3. I'm going to do personality, like attributes, things that you need to take with you for success. I would say, firstly, is initiative, which is a crazy thing because years ago I was at a workplace and I just had the assumption that everyone has initiative. They don't. Not everyone does. Not everyone's born with it, which is fine. It can be learned. So I think if you're going to run away with the circus, you need initiative. And if you don't have it, you need to have the tools to act like you've got it, which is, walking onto set, looking at a situation and going, how can I help? It might be outside of what my job is, but I can see that needs to be done, or that needs to be done, or I can see a different way to do this that will be quicker, more efficient, whatever. That is so valuable, and it makes you a really important cog of the whole wheel of the entertainment industry. Like, it's really important for you to, use your initiative. Number 2, I would say it's important for success to have a can-do positive attitude. The hours are long, it gets busy, It can be a little stressful, and you don't want to be that negative person that just doesn't want to be there. We're such a close-knit family when we're working, and negativity can just like creep in and then like kind of burst out. And you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be known to be that person. You want to be positive and can do. What can we do to make the situation better? And that positive attitude will take you so much further than even necessarily a skill set, because the right attitude, a positive attitude, you'll be able to do anything. And then my third thing would be to keep calm. It's just television. Like, at the end of the day, like say, things can get a little bit stressful. It's really important, and especially if you're ever wanting to do anything in my role of like being the publicist or comms manager, is that it's really important to keep a calm head. People may be running around like headless chooks around you, and it's your job to take what the problem is, assess it, think about it calmly, and calmly deliver the solutions or the options of what those solutions look like, so that people can just take a chill pill and be like, okay, yeah, let's get this, let's do that one and get it going. Do that, and then at the end of the day, it is only television. My husband is in the medical profession.
Newlywed, by the way.
Yeah. And I know one time I came home from work and was like, oh my goodness, this happened. It was very stressful and blah, 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 blah. And, once I'd finished and he listened like earnestly and, was very supportive. And then I was like, how was your day? Oh, well, I actually, one of the patients, we had to tell them that their leg will need to be amputated. And it was just like, wow, you know what? That just wipes out everything I just said. It doesn't mean it's not important, and it is important, but it's, keep it in perspective. It's television. No one, hopefully, is dying. So, keep it in perspective. It is important. Find solutions and calmly move on with it. They're my three things.
Bravo. I like those three things.
Essential,
right?
Yeah.
Because...
And note also that they're things that you can learn. So if you're listening and you're kind of like, oh, I'm such a stress head, or I don't have initiative, or sometimes I can be a little bit of a negative Nancy. Sorry, Nancy's out there.
Sorry, Nancy.
But, all of these things can be learned with the right mindset and thinking about it and, taking it upon yourself to think, okay, I'm going to be calm in this situation. I'm going to take a step back and, have a clear head. Or how can I use my initiative? What are the things I can do? Like they can be learnt skills if you don't naturally have them.
Absolutely, 100%. I think with those skills that you've learned along the way, and you came up through radio, you came through TVSN, you came through several different media genres, and then, this beautiful stage in your life into television. I'd love to hear some anecdotes. Give us the juice. I mean, this is the only reason I brought you here. Give us the juice. Your best and your worst times. Your craziest times.
I think one of it's probably best and craziest times was one of the first seasons I did of Bachelor here in Australia. And we were in Bali, and we had paparazzi following us everywhere that we went. And you know what? It's fine to have that kind of interest, and it's fine for them, that they're doing a job too. But they also often want to do spoilers, and that's no fun for anyone. Like, you don't sit down to watch a TV show and go straight to the end. Like, you want to go on the journey and see what happens and see everything.
That's the smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. So that can be frustrating. So obviously, especially when we get to a finale, we're wanting to, keep some things under wraps so that you get to have the nice reveal at the end of the season and not, because you accidentally clicked on something. But we had helicopters. Well, we got word that there was helicopters that were going to be used by paparazzi hired out. And so we booked all the helicopters. We booked helicopters so that they were unavailable.
All the helicopters.
We grounded some helicopters so that they weren't available for an hour or two to ensure that we would get the shot. And then knowing when they had booked it, we just rejigged the schedule so that our talent would be inside. We weren't filming when the helicopters were in the air.
You see, now there's the smoke and mirrors, my friend.
Which was
Wow.
great because it ended up being an amazing finale. No one knew what the outcome was going to be. Everyone was surprised and shocked by it. It was great. And
that's the beauty.
Yeah. But there was a lot of work to make sure that you got to have that like woohoo at the end.
Now, can you imagine? There is Megan swanning around the place going, I want all of these helicopters gone. What do you mean? I mean, I want them gone. Get them out of the way.
No, but I mean, it was initiative, can do, positive attitude. What's a calm solution to this problem that we're about to have all these helicopters circling, which would ruin the sound, so we wouldn't be able to film. Like, there's so many things. What do you do? And we did brainstorm all sorts of things, and then we put things in action. We picked one and we did it.
See, it just shows anything's possible, and it's all about that. Because you have the expertise, unemotionally how to fix things.
Yeah. Another funny one actually was, I think it was the same finale actually, but we had a paparazzi who was sitting there taking shots of one of the final dates. So we kind of did a smoke and mirror, and we managed to swap out the girl. And we'd been kind of having umbrellas over them to hide who they were. We swapped out the girl and got her into a van without this guy noticing. We had someone else go and talk to him and kind of like chat to him and see what he was up to, distract him while we got rid of this girl. And then me and my photographer at the time, we sat underneath the umbrella, and you could only see our legs. And he was busy shooting all these shots of the two of us, and we let him do that for enough time for us to move the talent to another location. And then once we got word that they were safely where they needed to be and filming had started on that element of the date, we just lifted up and stood up and got walking, and you could see this guy flummox that he'd been shooting the legs of the wrong people.
Well, also very lovely. And speaking of lovely legs, thank you so much for joining us. Me and you. It's been such a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been great.
Oh my God, your stories are fabulous. I look up to you. You are a baller. And a brawler.
Well, I feel very, very lucky that coming to Australia, coming into the television industry, part of my television family became you. You became part of that family. Feel very, very lucky.
I feel the same. Thank you, my darling.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, folks, that is all for this episode of The Biggest Little Show. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, we've got so many fantastic things coming up. Brand new content, wonderful courses, events too. You don't mind a party, do you? See you soon.